Hey everybody, it's Dustin from Handsome Phantom. Welcome to another edition of Handsome Phantom After Dark. The Jim Short Boys are back.
We back.
And we're here, still in the beautiful
State of Anaheim.
State of Anaheim.
State of Anaheim.
Yeah, Anaheim area.
Garden Grove.
Garden Grove, that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Phil, they're going to find us now.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no.
It's already happened once.
It's already, yeah. Good Lord.
That's a true story.
We're still scratching our heads on that. But
So we spent the last 2 days at PlayStation Experience. Had a fantastic time. We're definitely some tired boys at this point, so we're going to try to keep the energy level up.
We're going to try to make sure Brandon doesn't fall asleep again during a live show.
dude, listen, I was very tired. I'm also very tired now.
You also drank like 4 beers.
Every time you asked a question, I answered it, and I answered it well.
Brandon.
Well, actually, I don't know about well. Probably like pretty good.
Show for our people watching the video. This beer you have here is just outrageously.
Look, I don't have a banana for comparison, but this is it next to my head.
That's just one of the beers you drank.
Yeah.
So before we start talking about the show today, let's rep some of the content. We put out 8 different interviews. That's right, 8 different interviews over on our YouTube channel.
That's a lot of
fingers. Make sure to go over to our YouTube channel, check that out, or you can go directly to our site, handsomefam.com, and there's an article for each interview if you prefer to get it that way.
Correct.
Or you could peep us on Twitter.
Or you can peep us on Twitter, of course. Always on Twitter.
The Twitter.
So, guys, today was day 2 of PlayStation Experience. We weren't as busy booked constantly throughout the day, so a little bit more relaxing of a day, but still
Lots of work.
and
Yeah.
lots more work to do. So, tons of fun. But let's go around. I liked what we did yesterday. Talked about any specific games that you really had a great time with. Does anyone want to start us off? Anyone knows already?
I can start.
All right,
I'll start.
Phil.
Start us off.
Hit us up.
My favorite thing today was the one I wasn't even expecting to play was the Garden Between, I believe it's called. It was a lot of fun. It's kind of a puzzle game in the vein of, nothing I've ever played. It kind of has a Captain Toad.
It's exactly like it's nothing.
Well, the comparison came up with the Captain Toad, though it's not a great comparison. It's the closest thing. And actually, the guy that I was talking to had said that he hadn't ever heard of the game, and then when he was at his last conference, people kept saying, that was like Captain Toad. And he's like, what's Captain Toad? And then he went and looked it up, and he said, yeah, it's kind of like Captain Toad. But it's basically a puzzle game where you're basically on a small little island, and you got to solve puzzles, but you don't move the characters as much as you manipulate time.
Whoa.
So you have to like, if there's a bridge there, you might have to cross the bridge, but it's out, maybe broken. So you have to go back in time a little bit to when the bridge was there, and then, basically light a lantern. That's what it does, and then it stays there. Then you can cross it, and then you might have to go in the future and do things, and you're basically just manipulating time back and forth till you can actually solve the puzzle.
Interesting. And do you remember who the dev was on that?
Yeah. It's no.
The Voxel agent.
It's been a long.
It's been a very long
Yes.
day.
Yes, I think it was.
Oh.
Okay. Cool.
What was it?
I think.
Anyway.
That's a terrible
But you really
question to
enjoyed
ask.
it.
I really enjoyed it, yeah.
What is I don't know if you went over this, the art direction. Like, what is the visual?
It's a very dreamlike kind of visualization. Like, he said he wanted to invoke visions of, like, your childhood and just kind of... it's like I said, it's like a little island, but on this island is like old video game machines or VCRs or Jenga, different games like that. So it's very dreamlike.
Yeah, no, I was actually there as well. I got to experience it a little bit with Phil, and they described it as being surreal as well. So I remember specifically a lot of things like he's saying, like the VCR. There were also like very childlike things, as he had mentioned, where there was like a normal looking trash can that was tipped over that was made into like a cardboard rocket, just for funsies. And then off in the distance, I remember more of the surreal came in different levels I was watching, where it looked like there was a window just floating, but it was like the part where the wood would be was just the normal color of the background, but it looked like a window to another place, but it didn't really look like a window. It was just came with some of that surreal, and that's how they actually described it to us, was surreal. So
Yeah, and like the VCR puzzle, you had to actually, the VCR was there. You had to go forward in time and then back, and you actually had to pop the VCR tape out so that you could use it as a bridge to like climb to the next. It was cool. Like, it's just different. Never played anything like it.
Very cool.
Except maybe Captain Toad.
Nice.
that's the closest.
But not really.
Yeah, right.
I thought of mine.
Yeah.
I thought I'd switch up the formula instead of just going right down the line.
Mhm.
For me, something I played that was really cool was the new game coming out from London Studio.
I'm glad you took that one because it was one of the 4 I was going to talk about.
Dang, well, you still got 3 more. You're good.
I said I'm glad.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's called Blood and Truth, and it is the sort of follow-up to the London Heist, which was on the PlayStation VR Worlds disc. And what was cool is that a lot of people really liked London Heist, but it was kind of just like a concept almost, a couple chapters with very brief gameplay woven in, right? So this is like a full elaboration, full-blown game of that. And so, whereas in London Heist, you're stationary. Everyone has seen the one where you're behind the desk and you're trying to get the jewel out. This one, you are going in and you're trying to find a guy. Ben, I don't know who this guy was.
I don't remember.
But you're trying to find this guy. I think it's a casino or a bank. I'm trying to remember because the one part you're planting all the sea floor with all the tables.
Yeah.
So you go through the bank or casino, whatever the fuck it is, and you go into like the security room and you're looking through all the cameras to try and find him.
That was intense. Yeah.
It's super cool because it's like you reach out. There's like a little joystick to move the cameras around, and there's a slider to zoom in and out. So, not full locomotion, but it was like moving from point to point, but not in a bad way. I know that some people don't like. It wasn't like a teleport. It was
Right.
like a click, and it moves you forward and around. One thing that really was cool is the gunplay mechanics were super awesome. It was an even better version of London Heist, which is cool just because they were kind of the forerunners of this kind of
They're what made me
VR.
believe in VR, for sure.
Oh yeah. So some things that have improved is that your gun has a little like little dot sight at the top. So at London Heist, it was kind of hard to look down sights and see correctly just because of resolution and stuff like that. So having that little dot sight up top was really cool. So you have your gun, which you can holster and pull out, which felt really neat. But also your ammo was on your chest, so you would just pull out a piece of ammo and then stick it in the bottom of the gun.
Or throw the ammo up and catch it in the gun.
Yeah, you could also do that, which that's something you could do in London Heist too. Is
It's confession time. I own it, but I still haven't played it.
Oh,
are you
London Heist.
serious,
Yeah.
dude? London Heist.
You're a
it's
bad person, Phil.
I am.
It's
I
a
am.
fantastic little VR experience, but
Yeah.
this is even better. They threw in just some fun things. For example, if you press the triangle button on your right move controller, it lets you do like a gun twirl, like your freaking revolver ocelot in Metal Gear Solid. And man, I was having so much fun. Like I was just like pop, pop, pop shooting guys, and then just like twirling around just for fun
Yeah.
because it was so satisfying.
That looked
to do.
cool just on the TV screen. I imagine it looked even better when you actually like
Oh, dude,
spin it
it
around.
felt so good.
Yeah.
It was like you see someone do that in real life and you're like, oh, that doesn't look that hard. And then if you have like a fake like toy gun or something, or maybe a real gun if you're a fucking daredevil or whatever, hopefully not loaded, you try it and it doesn't work at all. This was just like wish for fulfillment of.
And you could tell how proud they were of that.
Oh, yeah.
They were
Oh,
just
yeah.
super proud of those little things. Yeah.
But no, yeah, it was really cool. Ben, I'm trying to think of the other. Is there anything else that stuck out to you about the demo?
Well, so there's this part where you're trying to go through the HVAC system. You're going through all the air ducts and everything.
yeah.
And you actually reach out and pull yourself through it. And it felt immersive. Like you really felt like you were pulling yourself through. And the same way with the ladder play.
Yeah.
Like you were pulling on a ladder
Yeah.
to actually pull yourself up. And if you let go, you actually fell down a little bit. And
Mhm.
that was cool. There are obviously some glitches with it still. They're still working on it. That was basically a tech demo because we're past the tech demo phase, but it wasn't even playable on the show floor.
Yeah, this
which was amazing that we got to experience it without it being on the show floor in the press room. It was intense. It was cool, and they don't have a release date or anything. They wouldn't even say 2018.
yeah.
So it's definitely early on in development, but I'm really excited for it. It's already shaping up to be really cool.
Yeah, the one other thing that I thought of that I thought was really cool was that there's as I mentioned, you're planning C4 all across this room with all these
Yeah.
tables, but you're also shooting guys and moving across. So like you go up to a table and you'd have to attach the timer to the C4 like they do in the movies, and you plan it. You got to move on to the next one, and you're popping people at the same time. And man, it felt so good. Now, at the end of the demo, you finally catch up to the guy, and you have some options on what you want to do. You can try to, I think there's like dialogue options, whether you try to like reason with him or you be the badass and do what you want. And Ben, I'm curious, how did that work out for you? Because I surprised the developers with mine.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't try to be nice. I just went, gangster on it because that's what I wanted to do. I did right before everything started. He looks at me and he goes, "You get to the end here and you can shoot the guy anywhere you want. Depending on where you shoot him, it'll change things around." Because another person was playing and I was kind of trying not to watch, but I was watching. And he goes, at our last show that we took it to, which was Paris, everybody kept shooting him in the groin. And so far at this show, nobody has. And I said, "Oh, I'll change that." So I shot him in the groin and he died immediately, which I thought was intense. I would probably die immediately.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. So, Phil.
Okay, so I just want to say one thing. He opened that beer, and I could smell how skunky, disgusting that nasty-ass fucking Corona is. The second he opened
so
that
good.
dog shit beer, I could smell it from a mile away.
It's
I'm serious. I can almost
80
smell
degrees out
Jesus
in December,
H. Christ.
and I am gonna have an islandy beach beer.
Why don't
While I
you
look
just,
at the palm trees
why
outside.
don't you just put a fucking lime in it to make it taste better, too?
If I had one, I would.
Good Lord. That's...
I could rub my feet in
I
it
am-
and it would taste
I
better.
am not joking. Was the second he opened that beer, I got a whiff of how bad it tastes. I know what it tastes like. It tastes like fucking horse shit. That's what it tastes
It tastes like vacation and summer.
God,
vacation
well, sir,
sucks.
you're at a,
you need
you're
to
at-
quit vacation.
You're
and
at
you
a
don't know
dude
how to do
ranch.
it.
You're at a dude ranch or something because you're eating horse shit. Good Lord. Sorry to. Oh, I just. Good Lord. You get that the fuck out of here. Good
I don't
Lord.
remember what I was saying.
The game's great.
Yeah, it is. It is very
Blood and ice cream. You're talking about
not-
blood.
I
And...
can still smell it. I'm serious.
Look,
got
find
the
your
hiccups.
beach, Brandon. Find your beach.
You opened that beer and I got the hiccups.
God, wow.
We did
So-
play video games today, though. That was
Yes, we
fun.
did.
A couple.
Uh,
A
oh.
couple.
No, I want to tell you what I did. So I kept trying to be the badass, and he kept trying to weasel his way out of it. And I eventually got tired of him, just shot him in the fucking face. And they were like, "Oh shit!" Like they were not expecting me to just
Really?
blatantly shoot this guy and murder him cold
They
blood.
thought you were a fucking psychopath. That's why they were like, we don't want to mess with this guy.
I think I was like, I'm straight up London gangster right now. I'm trying to live. I'm
What's
living,
up, bruv? You get shit in the face, bruv.
I'm just trying to like live the role a little
Yeah.
bit. So I popped him in the face, and then basically the alarms start going off, and you do that. If you saw the Paris Games Week trailer, you jump out the window. But it's cool because the thought of jumping out a window in VR is like thinking about it makes me sick. But they like slowed time down, which made it feel really good. There was a couple times throughout the demo where they slowed time down too, which
Yeah.
kind of had not quite super hot since it wasn't like time moves when you move, but it made you feel like freaking Matrix.
There was one point where you're running down a hallway, and they kind of slow the time down a little bit. And I shot a fire extinguisher. Excuse me. And the fire extinguisher explodes. And first of all, I don't know if that's what really happens in real life if you shoot a fire extinguisher. I don't think it is. I don't think it just
No,
explodes.
it's meant to extinguish fires,
Right.
not cause
Yeah, but it's
them.
real pressurized in there. It's gonna
Oh,
blow
yeah.
up.
So whatever.
It might not cause like a fire explosion, but it's gonna
You
blow.
probably just like
Set So
like,
It's not gonna go.
like just like a deflating balloon.
anyway, we're running down the hallway. Shoot a fire extinguisher. It explodes. Kills a guy next to me. And then the next guy ahead of me, I like turned and looked at him, and he was just there. And I literally it frightened me that he was standing so close. And I just went pow and shot him in the head like 15 times. And there was blood everywhere. And they were like, "We designed the game, and that's the bloodiest shot we've ever seen."
Wow.
I'm like, I'm impressed with myself. Thank you.
Very nice.
All right. I feel like I've talked enough. I'm sorry. I was trying to not to laugh.
I'm not gonna be able to drink it. I won't be able to drink this beer because every time I
Please
go to
drink
take
it
a
as
sip,
fast as you could possibly can.
I'm gonna laugh. It's gonna go
That's
everywhere.
I saw Phil take a drink. He just kind of set it down there on his lap. It looked like he was so satisfied.
Good Lord. I hope he's happy.
So happy.
Oh, good.
For those of you
Corona
listening to the podcast and not watching live, Phil's drinking a 22-ounce Corona, and it looks real
Pissy.
bad.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon.
Cool.
What'd you play today?
I kind of torn between two because I really enjoyed them both.
We got time for best.
So I could just give a brief synopsis of both. I've talked a lot about
Why do you have
Earth
your arm around me?
for funsies.
All right.
It's more comfortable. And also I care about you a lot.
Thank you.
So I just want to say shout out to Earthlight again. I'm going to keep talking praise to this game because I really enjoy it. They added some new stuff that was really cool. When you defeat dragons, you could bring their teeth back to the thing, and there's now a shop. You can add stuff to your little hub world there, so it's kind of cool. And it just felt way more polished than other years I had played it. I don't know what they did about it, but it felt different. So they had mentioned, we did an interview with them. They had mentioned that it's real close to gold. It's going to be out pretty soon. So I'm excited for it to finally come out. They said they've been working on it for
Perhaps 2018.
6 years. So
6 years.
I'm almost positive that's what they said.
I'm willing to bet they've probably only been showing it for 3. I mean, I guess we weren't at the first PSX to know whether or not it was there.
Yeah,
but
it's been all 3 years that we've been there.
Yeah.
So 3 of the 4 years that PSX has gone on, it's been there. But really awesome guys, and can't wait to play that. Also, Mother Gunship.
Yeah, that was yesterday, but yes, Mother Gunship.
Oh, that was
you
yesterday.
can talk about it today. I don't care.
Anyway,
We talked about it yesterday.
Oh.
So Phil and I
Maybe not.
played this game both, and it just really stood out to me. It's a really cool Doom Quake-esque type game. There's going to be an article going up about it, and the customization system of the guns is something that really standed out for me. It really made every single time you played it unique because of the way you can thoroughly customize your gun, and it changes the minute-to-minute gameplay that we'll talk about in the article. But this was really cool, and it kind of stuck with me. The dev that was there was really cool, and I just thought that it came out of nowhere because I went in there thinking that the screenshots looked okay, but after playing it, it played really well. So
Yeah, I think what was cool about going back to Earth Night was some of these devs, not that I think all of our interactions were super friendly and really nice, but some of them are like, hey, like we actually could like hang out, grab a beer. And those Earth Night guys were like super cool, talked to us about some different stuff. And it's always nice to have interactions like that.
yeah, no, for sure, especially because I've been someone who's been I've followed Earth Night since the first PSX we were at, and I told them that. So it was super cool to get to interact with them in that way. So
Yeah, for sure.
but
All right, Ben.
Yeah. I think I'll talk about Super Meat Boy Forever first. And I was a huge Super Meat Boy fan when the title came out. I reviewed it back in 2010, and it was amazing then, and I loved it. Obviously, they gained great notoriety. Man, I'm sorry.
Are you drunk?
No, I've had half a beer. I'm nowhere near drunk.
Dang
I just laughed at the Corona thing, and it got me going.
Got the hiccups going.
Sorry.
This
Actually, I'm not really that sorry. It's just funny.
Our podcast goes off the rails. This is like next level. I'm fine. Well, it's a mix of like good and bad.
This is
Well,
not
no,
going
it's
to be
good.
edited, right?
It's good
I
and
want
good.
people to know I was hiccuping.
Oh yeah, no,
Okay.
they know it's live.
We
So-
should probably be like this a little more often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Without the Corona.
Brandon just went to take a piss during the freaking show.
Sure. A piss.
So, So
Super Meat Boy.
Super Meat Boy Forever. Obviously, Indie Game the movie launched them to even more success. They've launched, he's launched the game on a lot of different systems and everything like that. So just almost like a cultural icon. And so for me, when I saw that Super Meat Boy Forever was coming out, it was super exciting because the gameplay is challenging, but it's puzzly at the same time. You have to figure out the way to get through while at the same time having a little bit of skill. So the new Super Meat Boy Forever, he describes it as, I named it Super Meat Boy Forever so that I didn't have to name it with a 2 at the end. Seems logical to me.
Specifically, was in our interview. You'll see he's like, Destiny 2. Like, couldn't they have come up with something better than that?
Yeah, and he was right next to the Destiny 2 booth.
Yeah, I think, did he like look up and was like, oh, so
Yeah.
It was funny.
But that answered my question though, because I was wondering if it was actually a proper sequel, since it's not called 2. I didn't know if it was just like the N plus.
It is
plus
a sequel,
plus,
yeah.
So it is a full. Okay.
Yeah, it's a full. I mean, it's a new game. There's a lot of differences between the first game and this game. One of them being that it's a runner, so it's not an endless runner, but you're in each level you're running, and so you're not controlling your movement other than the jumping, the punching, the crouching, sliding, whatever you want to call it, which was slightly disappointing when I originally heard that, and then I read some of the description and saw some of the gameplay, and then played it myself today, and it was not at all disappointing. It doesn't feel. I mean, you're always moving forward in Super Meat Boy, the original. So with Super Meat Boy Forever, the fact that you're moving forward automatically just adds to the difficulty, which is the reason I like Super Meat Boy, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, something that's really interesting about that specifically, it kind of lends away to things like Super Mario Run or something like that, whatever the fuck it's called. Like, that game could be an app, and I think it would do really well.
It is an app.
It's going to be an app.
Is it?
Yeah.
Good. Good news then.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're talking about Meat Boy.
Yeah.
Super Meat Boy.
I thought you meant Mario.
No, yeah, no. So, I just think that that's really interesting how they tried to change it up, and I think it would do pretty well as an app as well.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think that when people hear runner, they think like
App. Yeah.
Temple Run.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think of immediately.
They think
Temple Run.
endless runner and not just
Oh,
runner,
yeah.
right?
Well, no, I mean, Super Mario Run is an endless runner, and I feel like it would kind of be in the same category where it's
Wait.
like levels, right?
Oh yeah, Mario Run. Yeah,
Here's
not
the-
level based.
Well, didn't they say Earth Knight was a runner too? Isn't that the one that was a runner?
Yeah, it is, but it's like level based as well. So
Here's the craziest thing about this, about Super Meat Boy Forever, at least to me. You do the level, and you're done with it. You move on, keep going. But the level after you do it changes. It actually spikes in difficulty. And I don't know if that's a static thing every time, or if that's going to be a different thing every time, if the things that change. So I assume it's got to be, already pre-programmed, because the strategic nature of the game, you have to, the precision nature of the game, you probably have to have it planned out. But I think it's really interesting that it's going to go from, this already difficult level, and then it changes and gets harder after you beat it. Man,
ending with a hiccup.
these hiccups are killing me.
Well,
I wish I had an excuse. I wish I had like 3 or 4 more beers, so I had an excuse. But I don't.
yeah, no, that's fine. So I have one that I think we can all talk about collectively as well, that I think we all really enjoyed, and that was Guacamelee 2.
Yes, I almost talked
I'm
about
the only
that
one
myself.
who didn't play it.
You're the one who didn't play.
Yeah.
Dang it. Well, that's okay.
I'm gonna set the mic down.
Yeah. So Guacamelee 2, seems like a really refined, way more beautiful version of the first game. Version's not the right word.
Sequel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
It looked crazy good.
Yeah.
Running on 4K.
Yeah, no, I definitely can agree with that. I had talked to the dev in the press booth that we were with, and he was talking about how they had implemented some different shadowing with almost everything in the game, if I remember hearing him correctly. And they were also talking about potentially, I believe they said HDR would be available for that game.
Wow.
I
Okay.
thought so. I'm pretty sure he said it currently wasn't running in the press booth because there was something weird going on with the TV, but that should be available. But regardless, whatever it was running on, I agree with you, was completely beautiful. So,
dude, it was so cool. And one of the nice things about booking an appointment is sometimes you get to play the game if it's a 2-player game with the developer. And I actually got to sit down and play it with Graham Smith, who's one of the founders of Drinkbox. So that was really cool to have him sit me down, show me the different things, him talk about like oddly specific things that most people wouldn't care about, but to us was really cool. Specifically like the chicken mechanics, how they've improved from the last game, since you could turn into a chicken, but they're like, we want the chicken to be more powerful in this game. Like when you're the chicken, you get to attack way faster, but your attacks aren't quite as good.
Yeah, no, when I talked to them, they were talking about how there's like full movesets for the chickens now, and like full animations with like uppercuts.
That chicken uppercut was my favorite thing in the whole game.
Yeah. Seriously, it was super cool, and they were talking about like super moves with the chicken and everything, and how it was way more dynamic of a chicken than last game, which was just really, honestly, adorable. I loved it. So. And
I liked there was a chicken pope.
So cute. There was a chicken pope. There was you can turn into a mega chicken at some point, which was fantastic. Just a lot of great chicken love in this game.
Yeah, I was telling him because the chicken pope comes in and out of the demo a couple times. It came up again. I'm like, dude, I cannot get over that chicken pope and how awesome it is. But yeah, it was really cool, and it actually I played a little. I was honest with him. I was like, I've only played a little bit of the first one, and I enjoyed what I played, but it just got lost at some point with all the different games that we were playing. And playing Guacamelee 2 made me want to go back play Guacamelee 1 because really, really enjoyed that. So
yeah, no, I literally 100% agree with you. After playing Guacamelee 2, I'm like, I think I want to give the first one a second try. So
yeah, for sure. So Ben, to bring you back into the conversation, since we're just spitballing games, you ready?
I know where you're going.
The Adventure Pals?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about Adventure Pals.
Okay.
Adventure Pals.
Pals,
Armor Games is publishing that, and our friend Ryan there was awesome to see him. But we sat down, and that was another one we got to. Well, you and I were playing, and the developer was like over our shoulder. So Ben, tell us a little bit about the game itself.
Well, when you look at it, you instantly kind of gather where they got their inspirations from. The developer even said, "Yeah, our team, we wear our inspirations on our sleeve," kind of thing. So it's very adventure time based, or not based, but inspired. What other?
Steven Universe,
definitely. Yeah.
I've never watched that. Is that a good show?
it has a really big Reddit following.
It's one of
No,
those.
then it sucks. It's garbage.
It's like a shitty good show, shitty fandom, like Rick and Morty.
No, I just think it's like it has a big like cult following.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, how many times can I say like? Anyway,
Literally a cult. They get
Wow.
together. The
So-
robes.
you're just saying that because of Reddit, you fuck.
Yeah.
Phil
doesn't
hates
like
Reddit.
Reddit.
I love Reddit. I got
No, you
handsome
don't.
fan on Reddit.
You literally just said the other day you
Hey,
hated it.
this.
All right. So anyway, you're
Expose him.
it's a platformer in a sense, and you're playing with a buddy, and I think you can play by yourself, obviously, but it
Sure
is
can.
really good with co-op. You're running around with a buddy, and eventually you get some different powers, and you get a giraffe in your backpack or a unicorn or something like that, and they help you do different things as far as some longer jumps you can make, some hovering you can do, etc. The thing that we found, Dustin, you and I, was the best part about it was that for a co-op game, a couch co-op game especially, it was incredibly tightly controlled.
Yeah.
It really operated smoothly, and I don't know how far out they are from being ready, but it was definitely cool.
He said something like we have over 100 levels too.
Yeah.
And if they are as good as that level we played today, the multiple levels we played today, both of them felt fantastic. And this is like, when I saw this game, I was like, okay, cool art style, but it's a platformer, and for the most part, I think we've gotten those platformers controls down as far as developers know what to do to make it feel good, but there's still like that tightness that you can get that just feels good to move around. And so specifically like jumping around, jumping off walls felt really good. And really cool game.
It was a really cool game, and I think you said that your wife would like to play with you. You and I could play together. It's the type of game that I could get my kids into specifically for the art style, but I think it's also something that they would just enjoy watching happen, and it would be not that it was an easy game, but it was cooperative enough in nature that I could easily, my 4-year-old would be able to at least control the character around, and I could do the heavy lifting, and he could still have fun with me.
I liked too. The game was surprisingly funny. Like you and I were laughing multiple times reading the dialogue. The one guy was trying to turn everybody into hot dogs.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm trying to turn everybody into hot dogs for reasons.
Yeah.
So we were laughing about that.
And a lot of times those kind of jokes when they're in text form on a game just fall flat with me. They're not funny, and that game it actually struck the funny bone, so it was good.
One last point about Adventure Pals is we talked about the co-op, and it's interesting with platformers for me because sometimes I think the co-op can suck. Specifically, the biggest platformer, Mario, the new Super Mario Bros. Series, especially the one on Wii U, they added all the co-op stuff. I always thought it made the game worse because...
I don't know. I thought 5-player co-op on that was awesome.
See, I just feel like it weighed you down. Like there was no... It only made the game harder.
It made it... Yeah. I mean, it did. But to me, whenever I did that, it wasn't actually to play the game in that way. It was just to dick around with other people and...
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, see how you could stop them from accomplishing things.
Yeah. There's something about, like... I guess, yeah, if you're trying to dick around, then that's cool. But if you're trying to get through the levels and play, it's like a lot of bouncing on top of each other, picking each other up on accident, throwing each other. This game specifically, though, the co-op made it feel like really good.
Like you were actually working together.
Mm-hmm, exactly. So, yeah, it was really cool. Brandon, Phil.
Yes.
You guys are up now if you want to hit us with another one.
Bruv.
What was the VR game we played?
Star Child.
Oh yeah,
Star Child was a lot of fun.
I played the demo on that one at home, but
okay.
Star Children.
Star Child, just one child. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was a VR platform. The main character seems to land, the little spaceship. It's pretty immersive in this area, and you kind of solve some puzzles, and you get a big robot friend. And you're going to be fighting other robots, it looks like, with some help. And the demo was actually fairly short, but it was still pretty fun. I mean, it was an immersive way to play a platformer, I felt.
Yeah, no, it actually worked surprisingly well. I hadn't really tried other platformers on VR at all, and it worked. There were cool, not too hard puzzles. I could see how it could maybe be more difficult, but it was just kind of relaxing being in a cool alien type world that looked awesome in VR, and not being first person was kind of cool because I've been so used to playing first person recently, and sometimes it's nice to like step back and just watch your character jump around or something like that. So in addition to what Phil was saying, with the robot, in the demo itself, much like in the E3 reveal, the robot kind of saves you in the middle of that from being attacked by something else. So I could see a cool dynamic potentially forming between you and this robot, kind of like
an Iron Giant thing.
Yeah, maybe some Titanfall-esque type
Titanfall,
stuff.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Or Iron Giant. So I could definitely see that. The dev had mentioned about potentially the character being able to take things over and control them. I'm not sure. I could just definitely see it being interesting and something that I really wasn't on the lookout for. I don't have VR, but I know a bunch of people that do, and definitely something I wasn't on the lookout for, but now am interested. So
very cool.
You could also play non-VR, but
neat.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was both.
Yeah, it is both.
Brandon, I have to ask you. You were when we were walking around, you were telling me you played Donut County.
Yeah,
which is the joking. They made the joke about being a whole simulator
right.
at the Game Awards.
Yeah, no, Donut County was awesome. Absolutely gorgeous game. I love the like polygonal, like the rigid shape games. You know what I mean? Amazing art style. So essentially, you follow the stories of this raccoon whose name is BK, I believe, and a girl, and they're friends, right? And so this raccoon keeps opening up these holes in the ground. So it's kind of cool because at first it's like a puzzle game where you suck up the little things, and then the hole gets bigger, and then you like get a big boulder, and then it makes it bigger, and then you say, hey, I could suck this up, stuff like that. And it keeps getting bigger, and then once you sucked everything up, next level.
It almost sounds like a reverse Katamari Damacy. Do you know that game? That's the one where you have the ball, and you push it around, and you collect stuff on the ball, and the ball gets bigger and bigger, and you can make bigger things.
Yeah.
This is like a hole that gets
for
bigger
sure
as you collect things.
But even towards the end of the demo, it quickly became more complex. So you would suck something up, and it would be partially sticking out of the hole, and then you would knock something down, and that would trigger another point of the level. Like, it wasn't just suck everything up in the level, and then you're good to go.
Okay.
It quickly became more complicated, and you had to think about it, and it was really cool. So not only did it look good, it played good, and in addition to that, it was probably one of the most adorable games I've ever played. You were like texting back and forth between the raccoon and this girl, and you could send like little duck emojis and stuff like that, and the replies were just super adorable. And
how come Apple doesn't have a duck emoji yet?
Cute is like the best way to describe that.
I think they do.
Oh.
And that's
Every
why
white
I'm
girl
actually
ever.
interested.
Little duck face.
It's adorable.
I think you told me that my wife Holly would love that game.
She would love
specifically
it.
is what you said.
For sure.
Did we get a card from that developer?
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were super nice. Gave us some contact info.
Annapurna.
And
Oh, dude, they made a, or they at least, that's the publisher.
Yeah.
They did Edith Finch. Well,
They're doing a lot of stuff. Like
not Edith Finch. The other one, the one best narrative. I always get them confused.
Edith Finch.
Edith. I was thinking of What Remains of
Edith Finch.
No, The Vanishing of
Ethan
Carter is
Oh,
the
yeah.
one that I get it confused with.
Yeah.
And I thought I said the wrong one.
Yeah.
That's
But,
the was that the GTFO developers?
I don't think so.
No.
Someone developed. They were talking about that in the one preview.
No, GTFO is
Oh yeah,
guys
the
who did
Payday guys.
Payday.
The Payday
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
but no, yeah, Donut County was really awesome.
That was one I didn't get to that one, and I
for
wish
sure.
I could have.
In the press booth, I was like nobody was playing it. I'm like, this game looks sweet. I walked right up to it and started playing it. So
It's funny, when I was in there was almost always someone on it.
Really?
So that's why
Okay.
I
Well,
didn't
part
get
of the
to it.
time it was the PR person. The developer had a PR person in there, or the
Uh-huh.
publisher did, and anytime somebody else wasn't playing it, she was playing it.
Because she liked it,
So
or
she-
because she was showing it off?
No, there was no one else around her. She was just playing it.
Oh.
So I don't know what.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, can we talk about Detroit now?
Yes, we can. I didn't know if we wanted to talk. I want to talk about Impatient, or we want to go right to
Go to Impatient first.
Impatient. It won't
Yeah.
take me long. Impatient is creepy VR prequel to Until Dawn. It was mostly pretty boring. For the most part, you're sitting in this insane asylum room. You're there because you have amnesia, and there's a doctor there. He seems a little freaky, and he's like, "All right, time for bed," and you go to bed, and then when it fades to black, you go back and you're like in the hallway, but it's all like dark and creepy. And you walk down the hallway, spooky man comes out of nowhere, screams in your face, scared the absolute shit out of me. In fact, I was sitting there and
Did you shart?
No, I didn't shart, but I believe my words were, "Oh, fuck me." And I heard the guy laughing that I said that.
You were swearing quite a few times when you play games. I know whenever you're playing, yesterday you're playing the way the pacifist. You're like, gosh, shit. It's
Yeah.
like, I think Ben said that's always probably a good thing to hear whenever someone's playing your game and they just yell, oh, shit.
Yeah, but it was interesting because there was the Until Dawn, like you could choose how you wanted to. It was like, oh, this is the nice thing to say, or the mean thing, or like the cautious thing. And a couple of the decisions that came up, the little butterfly effect from Until Dawn came up. So I'm curious what the different options were. And actually, the one that was in the press room was slightly longer than the one on the show floor. So I'm not sure what was extra, but what was extra did not do it for me either.
I think
So,
they said it's about a 3 to 4 hour experience.
3 to 4 hour experience. Yeah.
They say how long in the timeline before Until Dawn it takes place?
6 years.
No, it's a lot more than that. It takes
60,
like,
maybe it was 60 years.
I think it was like 60
Oh, okay.
years. Because it looks like a 40s, 50s era, maybe 60s.
I think
don't know.
I think I saw. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I just thought it was overall kind of boring, and the scary part just jump scared me, and it was like very oddly paced. So
Yeah.
but yeah, let's talk about Detroit. Much more exciting. Yeah,
Become Human.
Become Human. That's right.
We talked was it last night? I don't remember, about the booth that Detroit has set up, which is amazing. First of all, I think you actually lose a little bit of that experience playing it at home or playing it in the press room like we did.
Yeah.
But the booth was just amazing, and it just really drove home the feeling of reality of it. Of the game. So anyway, Detroit, yeah.
I was going to say, not to spoil it, but we did a little video about Detroit, which we'll be going over to that. But you're going to want to watch that video. Cause
it's a very special interview.
You'll get to see what the booth kind of looks like a little bit, too.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the premise of Detroit is that there are these androids who are basically here to help you. You know, you can buy an android to help
$8,000.
About $8,000, yeah, $79.95, I think. So, which, by the way, if they actually had them that were that functional for $8,000, I'd probably find the money.
Yeah,
put them on my credit card.
You could hire them at the pub.
That's right.
They'd be
do whatever I want.
workers. So,
anyway, the
government would try and tax them somehow.
Yeah,
they probably are taxed. So the game's premise, and there were two different things available for us when we were playing the demo. Phil, how's that beer?
It's real good.
Oh man! So there were two different demos available for us, and one there was a hostage situation. You are the hostage negotiator essentially, but the person holding the hostage is an android, and you are also an android. So very analytical. You're picking up some clues, like maybe L.A. Noire or something like that. Not quite that way, but in a similar style. You're making decisions. You have to make some of them pretty quickly, and then you're negotiating with the the defunct android, trying to get them to go your way. There's another version. I'll let you talk about that because I didn't get to test that one out.
So,
but here's what I will say though, real quick. We saw a demo at PlayStation Presents. I watched someone else play that same scenario, and then I played the scenario. And in all three instances, the ending was different because there were different decisions made leading up to that point.
Yeah, and I think what was cool about that specific demo is that as you're playing, it'll give you a % of success.
Yes, yeah.
Which was cool because mine didn't have that. But not that it didn't have different scenarios, but I don't know why that wasn't part of it.
Probably I don't think it fit the mold of, I mean, for this one, your character has a mission that you're set out to accomplish, and I think that character almost becomes like an android detective.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in some sense it was like built into that character.
Yeah, for sure. So my demo was about you're an android. I can't remember her name, but the people that own her is this guy, a dad who is a drug addict, and there's a little girl in the room with him that is like curled up looking very fearful. And so you start by making dinner and you put it on the table, and the dad's like just drunk and angry. He's talking about how his wife left him and how he lost his job to an android, and he ends up getting like just angry, just sitting there thinking to himself without anyone saying anything to him. He flips the table and goes and punches his daughter, this little girl, right in the face. And he's like, it's your fault that she left. And so then the little girl runs upstairs and he commands you to stay.
You as the android.
You as the android are to stay, and he walks away. And then this is where it got cool, is that so in your demo, the android is a following orders, right? He has a job to do that hostage negotiation. Well, mine, there was this thing where the android like broke free from control, and there was like this neat little sequence where like you can see like the code like turning red and getting corrupt almost.
Yeah.
And then it was like, ignoring orders and getting red and stuff, and then eventually you like there's like a breakthrough moment where the android has become human, right? And has gained control and become independent. And so you go upstairs and you can grab at least, I don't know, I'm guessing these are all options. I went into the dad's room and I grabbed the gun, and I went into the little girl's room where then there was a confrontation between the two of them. And this is where it got interesting, because you could try to reason with him, or you could be like, back away or I'm going to blow your brains out, which is the option I did.
Yeah.
And there was some quick time interaction because there was a fight between the two of them. And in the end, my gun slid away because I was like, dude, I'm ready to blast this guy. And you are getting beat up. And this part was like disturbing. I know this, I'm explaining this whole demo, but I think this is really important at the end because it really like didn't sit well with me, but in a good way, is that you're getting attacked and the little girl, this like seriously like 7-year-old girl, picks up the gun and shoots her dad through the heart and kills him.
Wow.
And it's so like, for the little bit of time that you're with these characters, it's so heartbreaking because you can see the little girl just like drop the gun like lifelessly, and tears stream down her face because it was like she hated her dad, but she killed somebody, right?
Even if you hate your dad and you kill him, you still killed your dad.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So, and then you run away and escape together. And it's one of those things that it's like, I don't know, maybe someone's listening to this right now and saying, oh, spoilers, but it's like after the mission is done, it shows you the web of options. And wow, there are so many different scenarios, ways that the scenario can play out.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I don't know how many of those of the web are actually unlockable for sure, but they kept saying that every action has a consequence, good or bad. So like even in the demo they did at the PlayStation Presents, like at the beginning you pick up a fish off the ground and throw it back into the fish tank. I don't know for sure if that is actually something that could come back good or bad if you do or don't pick up that fish, because you have the option. I don't know for sure, but that's the point where he said the first time everything you do has a consequence, and it's like that'd be really interesting to find out in 2 hours of gameplay down the road if that fish you picked up has something to do with the rest of the game. I don't know if it's anything significant, but it's a cool idea.
Yeah, no, they did something pretty similar to that in Until Dawn, where it was like kind of like a karma system. Like you don't blow the scroll's brain out, and you get good karma later. Stuff like that. That's
pretty sure I blew that squirrel to bits.
Oh yeah,
you sick fuck.
What I'm curious about is, and this is not in any way throwing shade at Until Dawn, because I think from what I've heard, a lot of people think that Until Dawn was able to do a lot of things that Quantic Dream was trying to do with Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls.
Heavy Rain, one of my favorite games of all time. So it was really cool to be able to talk to the developer who's also developing this game.
Oh, yeah.
And just have some time with him.
And the guy that was on stage was the one who
That's who I mean.
I finished my demo, and then I took off my headphones, I turned my left, and I was like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
It's you, the guy that was on stage.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. But so Until Dawn, you see the butterfly effect that shows all the different outcomes. And I don't want to say it's linear, but it's kind of clean looking, right?
Yeah.
The web of effect on this game is crazy.
Yeah.
It's all over the place, but in a very good way.
Right.
So I just can't wait to play it. I feel like I wanted to be able to sit down and play that demo again.
Yes.
And try different things.
Oh, absolutely. And that's
probably could have.
You probably could have. That's part of the reason I wasn't afraid to watch the person ahead of me who was demoing it, because I knew, one, that, okay, I want to see what their actions are, and then I'll just take different actions from what they're taking, and I know it'll be cool and different, and it was completely different. And then we were actually walking around the show floor later, and they had it at the the booth for the general attendees, and I was watching it, and a different scenario happened than the other three I had already seen happen.
Wow.
It was the same, mission essentially, but the ending was different. So I'm really curious on what the overall narrative is going to be that attaches everything. Or they said you have 3 playable characters, so is it just going to be 3 different characters you play that they're just in chunks? Does it all intertwine somehow? I'm really interested to see what that's going to be like. But it's definitely it was my E3 pick. I was looking at it before that when they had talked about it, even though that hadn't been quite announced. And it's also really interesting because we're at a place where, I don't know, 15, 20 years we could legitimately have Android type devices like that are lifelike, and
they're already becoming citizens.
That's true. How do we deal with it's addressing some real issues we could have in a few years in our lifetimes of how do we deal with this happening? How do we deal with the morality of androids? Do we have androids that work for us? Because I don't know. So it's just kind of some crazy stuff. And I mentioned that to one of the PR reps at the that I had those thoughts and everything. They were like, "Yeah, that's actually a lot of what developers going for is trying to make you think about those crazy things and address them head on."
Yeah, it's a very cool game. Also, stunningly
it's
beautiful.
amazing. Yeah, it's beautiful.
I told the dev, I said, I think this might be the best looking PlayStation 4 game yet, which is impressive because I thought that Uncharted 4/Horizon was the absolute max, and it might top it as far as photo realism.
Yes. Yeah.
So very, very cool stuff.
Imagine
Guys,
if it was VR.
oh man, that would be extra rad. So the podcast is waning to a close,
Mm-hmm.
but I wanted to just wrap up overall PlayStation experience. It's done. You guys had a great time.
Definitely.
Great time.
Is there any overall thoughts? I know I'm kind of hitting you guys with a blanket question, but Phil, with you as your first show wrapped up, has it been everything you wanted and more?
Oh, way more.
Yeah.
And we were privileged to some areas and having some access that I didn't expect we would have. So, it was everything. I there weren't the announcements that I think a lot of people have become accustomed to, but being my first one, that was okay because just the amount of games. I mean, there was a time I just remember walking through and just being like, man, I just love video games so much. Everywhere you look, there's video games, and even just some of the stuff we were doing today, the photo opportunities that we took with the Spider-Man and Call of Duty, and it was a really good time. Yeah.
Brandon, this is your 3rd year at PSX. You're a PSX veteran. How's this year compared to previous?
It's been a lot different because we've been really busy.
Yes.
But it's been very rewarding. Got to see some different sides to things that I might not have been to other years. I would say this is probably the year that I dove headfirst, completely immersed in indies, which was a really great experience. And I've slowly been coming on to indies more and more, but I've had the most fun this year specifically getting to speak with some of the independent developers and playing their games and just realizing that even if they're independent, that these games are quality and that I wish more people would stand in their lines and play them.
Yes.
So that's what I took away from it. A lot of work, but a lot of fun, and was super awesome to get to know some of these amazing developers. So
Honestly, nothing makes me more sick than seeing an indie dev with a good or a bad game sitting there playing their own game because no one else is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're out there listening and you go to a show, play some indie games because
Don't wait in line to play Battlefront 2.
right.
It's out.
well, I mean, here's the thing. If you saw at any point during the day a line for World War II, I went up to the developer and I said, hey, is there anything different from this game from what I have at my house? He said, no, not at all. It's just local multiplayer.
Which is fun.
A QR code and a collector's card.
Which is fine.
That's why I
But
stood
the
in
thing
line for
is, if you don't own it, yes,
Right.
try it.
it. Yeah.
These indie devs are Most likely, I don't know exactly what, but they're paying a lot of money to be at the show, and they're coming there showing in cases like Earth Night 6 years of work that a lot of them have mortgaged their houses and taken out bank loans, or maybe they have another a full-time job and they're doing this on the side, and they're putting out some amazing content that's just going to fill hours and hours. And I want more people to try indies.
And the reason I'm saying this is because I've been there, right? I like the big titles. I still play them, but I oftentimes wouldn't give the smaller games a chance, and there's really some gold in there. And if you give them a chance, you'll find that there's a lot of really talented people, and just because they aren't big doesn't mean that their games aren't great.
And I know that I played through Battlefront to review it. It's a AAA game. I couldn't wait for it to be over, And there were games that I played over the last 2 days, these indie games. I'd never wanted them to end. I've actually put the controller down on 2 separate occasions, and they started talking to me, and I picked it back up and kept playing. I was like, you know what? I got nowhere to be. I'm just going to keep going.
Yep.
You want me to keep playing? I'm going to keep playing it. So it was great.
Ben, as someone who has been to PAX, been to a couple different PAXs before, how's PlayStation experience compare?
So I don't know if this is traditional, and it seems like it is, but I know they had more space this year. It's amazing not to have to rub against everyone you want to walk past. There's a lot more space. The games are given more room, it seems like. They're not butted right up against another game. There's a little bit of a divide. That's great. Every game that's there, I know, it's going to be at least on PlayStation 4 or a PlayStation device, period, which was pretty incredible because sometimes you go and you check out a game at PAX and then you find out it's going to be PC only, and that's fine, but that's not going to do it for everybody. So with these games, it's at least on PS4, but it might also be on Switch or Xbox or whatever later on. It could be on PC as well, but it's just really cool to have very passionate people all in the same room. The booths, there's some. This year's PAX East didn't have some of the most incredible booths I've seen, but previous PAX East I've gone to had some amazing booths. This one beat it as far as those booths.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of to echo and play off what you were saying is that, an amazing, passionate community. And I don't know what it is, but I guess it's just like the unified love of one thing. It's different at PlayStation experience just because, and not that people aren't nice at PAX,
right.
But seriously, you're going to be in a group of people that you could practically talk to anybody if you wanted to, or talk to somebody in line, and you're not going to have any weird or like people that shove past you in line. I'm sure not that everyone's a saint at the show, but definitely a really nice community aspect that is not found at other shows, I think.
Yeah, definitely. How's it compare to E3?
E3? E3.
I'm kidding. You don't even have to answer that.
Yeah. Well,
Sean Layden answered that already.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. All right, guys, let's wrap this podcast, and this is the end of the PlayStation Experience bonus shows. So it's been super fun to do.
No regular episode this week, obviously.
Yeah, no regular episode. And so we'll be back. Adventure Mode will return next week for normally scheduled back in the spare room at my apartment. It'll be great.
Yeah.
So, again, if you are interested in all of our content we've done, there's going to be so much of it. HandsomePhantom.com is the best place to get it all. You can also follow us on Twitter. Just search Handsome Phantom. You'll find it. You can follow us all personally. I'm at Dustin Can't Fly.
I'm at DA Great Dennis.
I am at _Glorious Ginger.
And I'm at Philip Nyman.
Cool. Again, thank you guys for coming along, being part of the crew. It's been great. Appreciate y'all.
Well, you're welcome.
Great. We'll see everybody next time.
Bye.